Hi, and welcome to another episode of In the Spotlight. I'm Maxine Crow, your host. This is where we shine a light on entrepreneurs, SMEs, and innovators. Today, I am joined by Venesa and Stuart from Right FM, and we are going to learn all about their journey, challenges. But first of all, welcome, Venesa and Stuart. How are you?
Hi, thank you for having us. Really good, thank you very much.
Lovely, thank you.
Yes, all good. Yeah, ready to chat.
Oh, it's brilliant, brilliant. It's long time coming because I remember we spoke last year, didn't we? So
Yeah.
really excited to hear about what's been happening in your world. But first of all, to kick us off, Venesa and Stuart, can you both introduce yourselves? And from each of you, just tell me what inspired you both to become entrepreneurs, SMEs.
Yeah, sure. I'll start first. I like to talk, so. Journey really started, I suppose, for me about 25 years ago, really. I started on a service desk within sort of facility security, coordinating engineers, going out to the call outs, standard stuff, and really kind of worked within that industry for years. Ended up at Mighty, was one of the operations managers there, worked on big contracts there with them, made redundant, moved on to another place, made redundant, moved on to another place. And Stuart and I both worked at Mighty. So I've known Stuart for quite a while. We're friends from past anyway. So I worked with him at Mighty. There was a position there. He came on board as procurement manager there, worked together there. And then again, obviously we were made redundant. We both kind of parted ways in terms of where we were working, but Stuart stuck in procurement. I stayed in facilities. And then my last company, probably most prestigious role, I should say, CIO of the company. So it was all going really, really fantastic. Unfortunately, redundancy came about again, and I actually brought Stuart on board towards the end of the life of that place to become manager as well. It was going really well. We worked really well together, and to be honest, we just both thought we just had enough of kind of going around in circles and said that we do this already. Why not do it ourselves?
Yeah.
We had a lot of good feedback from our clients and people that wanted to continue working with us. And we thought, well, we've got the momentum. Why not do it? So we spoke to the rest of the team and they were pretty much on board as well. So they all decided that they wanted to come along and try and start this journey with us. And that's where it started. So October, November last year, I think we kind of just started opening, but official launch in January.
Yeah.
And it's kind of escalated quite quickly since then. There's a lot that's been going on. So yeah,
that's brilliant. And Stuart, Mighty, yes, I do know Mighty very well. I'm surprised. I did a stint there as well a few years ago for a big project. But Stuart, tell us about yourself.
So I mean, pretty much mirror what Vanessa said there. Obviously, I've bounced around on a few different things, worked with a few different people since working at Mighty, and really never been super impressed. The thing that's I've always felt held us back or held me back in my roles, and obviously then when we worked together in our most recent company, was the owners, was the people that ran it, because their aspirations weren't what I wanted, and their goals for the clients didn't really align with the way I would like to do things. So when the opportunity came about, both Vanessa and myself sat down. We've been friends for a long time. We've worked for a long time, when we sat down and we said, look, we want to do this the right way. We want to do it ourselves, and we could do it better ourselves. And the amount of times that we said we want to do it the right way, hence the name.
Right FM.
We tried out a few other names and thought it just didn't make any sense. We said, well, let's just go with that. Of course, we do get quite a few people asking if we're a radio station, but other than
it's a good starting and opener and an icebreaker for us. We usually go in with the Right FM, not a radio station, but
yeah, that's a nice strapline. I like that. So tell us. So starting having a career in facilities procurement, working for big corporates as we do, and they all have their own personalities. And so with Right FM, what's been the initial challenges you've faced with going out on your own?
Oh God, it's been an interesting one. We've managed to get in front of a lot of good people, so I can't really say it's been difficult as such as in terms of getting in front of people. But I think explaining to the clients what we actually do. So I think the misconception of facilities, they just think outsourcing is going to cost more. That will probably be your biggest challenge, trying to explain to them that's not how it works. The outsourcing really is to relieve them of those duties in effect and use us as a resource where we're the specialists. We do that. So what we try and explain to them is when we go in, you're not going to spend any more by taking us on. If anything, you're going to save money. We'll come in, we'll look at it, and if you've got things that work and they are cost effective, then that's fine. If not, we'll find a better solution. So I think our challenges are trying to convince them that's what we do. I think they just think, oh no, we're just going to pay for someone, they're going to come in, it's just we might as well do it ourselves. But as we know, there's a lot more to it. It's a specialist thing. It's someone concentrating specifically on the facilities. The companies are there to do the job that they're there to do. So if they're a manufacturer, that's what they're there to do, not to look after the building. And I think those are the challenges, just getting in front of the right person and making them understand. And once you get in front of that person and explain what you do and how it works and what you can offer, I think that's where it works. So yeah, I think the challenge with getting clients and just explaining to them what it is.
Yeah, and have you found that because I liken things with clients as generational outsourcing. There's certain types, so people that they're in-house currently, but then they're just new to outsourcing, and then clients that have been outsourcing every few years on a cycle. And do you have a mixture of both? Have you found that there's a different level of
and I think
expectation?
The different types of companies as well, so the different industries. You have got those who, like you say, that are just churning every 3 years and whatnot. And what I find is it's a bit of a fight. And unfortunately, it seems to be about who you know. And in the bigger companies, you've got an FM person that's in there, an FM manager. They'll be there. You'll work with them really, really well. They'll leave. Somebody else will come and play. But they also know some good companies. So they put it out to tender. And even if you're as good as you are and brilliant and do everything, if they know someone else and they want to bring them into the play, then they do that. So it's very difficult to kind of keep that going. Whereas you've got other people who've never done this before, like you say, they don't really know what they don't know. So you go in and you do that. And that's where you find the longer relationship lasts, because you're kind of building and working with them and can keep that momentum. So yeah, it's a mixture of both, really. And I suppose it's just trying to keep on top of them in different ways. Everyone's so different. Everyone's got different goals. You have some that are focused on the sustainability, some that are doing it because they have to. We're trying to find companies that align with our ethos as well. We don't want to do it just because you have to. We don't do the bare minimum. We don't do minimum wage. We do the real living wage. All those little things that make a difference. So and it does make a difference to the work that you do as well. So giving that little bit extra on the wages means that your staff stay a little bit more loyal and you offer a better service that way. So. So just in terms of, I mean, the UK market is quite saturated, as we know, and to be honest, the facilities market is growing exponentially year on year. So there is room for everyone in this industry to earn and make a living and provide great service. But tell me, what would you say are your differentiators to other players in the market? We are quite heavily focused around compliance. So as the business, we do facilities management, we do the professional side as well, with ISO standards. So qualified to implement 9001, 14,001, which is the environmental, and the 27,001, which is the IT security side of it. So a lot of the companies that we have been liaising with have had issues with their ISOs failing them for one reason or another around the facilities. So we can integrate that quite well. So it's not just facilities, we can do that with the whole business as well. So we've got a quite a good handle on that. Also including the compliance side, so any sort of health and safety aspects on that side as well. We are currently looking at becoming hopefully a company that can actually certify as well. So not only will we be able to implement them, but we'll actually be able to certify companies for the ISOs as well. And again, that doesn't just cover facilities, that's the whole business in effect as well. We're sustainable, so we are trying to do everything sustainably going forward and from the offset. So we are paperless, we do everything quite digitally. Try and keep to that as well, obviously on the net zero journey, and trying to help our clients do that as well from the offset. So rather than going in with something that isn't sustainable, try and design it and implement it from the offset.
Yeah, that's amazing. Stuart, do you have any views to add to that?
No, I mean, I think going back to the point, when we get in front of customers, especially ones that have potentially, let's use the word, been abused by previous facilities, facilities companies, it's to re-educate them about the way that we want to come in and do things, which is genuinely to help them. Whatever they need, they can get. I mean, the idea is a simple one. You're a tire company and you want to that's what you're good at. So what you're not good at is keeping the buildings safe and making sure that you're compliant and their health and safety and all these other things around it. Well, that's what we're there to do. So you can just get on with your job, the thing that you want to do, that the reason you went into business, not all the rest of it. And that's that to try and re-educate people that is what they can actually offload to us. I think some people kind of approach us as a just as a procurement piece, because they don't necessarily, they want someone to go and negotiate with plumbers on their behalf or whatever. And that's okay. Yes, we can do that. But I think once we say to them, what else do you need doing? And there's an element of like, they kind of almost want to hold it back because they've had to with previous. Because everything's just been a negotiation rather than you just become a middleman as a negotiator with suppliers across, that's not what we ideally want to integrate into their company and be able to give them a service which is what facilities should be. That's be in effect that number that they call when something goes wrong, and just we'll take that off your hands. We'll deal with it. You don't need to worry about it.
Trust that just get it done.
It gets done, yeah.
Because especially with people that have been, and I use the word abuse, but you know what I'm saying. Companies that have had facilities companies before that are just there just to make as much money as they can, as quickly as they can. That's not our ethos, really. We obviously, of course, we're a commercial entity, and we have our responsibilities, but to grow in that way organically within a company and become rooted in, I think that's much harder to then sort of churn over, I think was the term you were using earlier. Where people kind of go from flip from one to the next. If we become much more integrated, it's better for us, it's better for the client, they get continuity, and that's our goal is to kind of do that. And ideally our target customer, I think, as Venesa was alluding to, is probably someone who's maybe scaled and is now started as a smaller company, size where they maybe now they've gone into a new building, they've gone into new facilities, they've taken on new factories or new premises, and they're not coping, they're failing because now they're
too big. Not too big, but they're growing very fast and they don't really know what to do. So
if we get to embedded if we can get embedded early, and I think there's a lot of big companies like, we use Mighty, but I mean, there's plenty of others out there. I think there's lots of other companies that, those customers are probably too small for them. They're not so interested in taking that journey because it's not super valuable to them now. Whereas to us, we've realised the value that that company is going to grow, and we will grow with it and become an important part of their structure.
Yeah, and I think it's fair to say that corporates and they have their own values. Everyone has their own journeys that they're on. And it's quite important that with even the different cultures as well. Is there a cultural fit with the clients? There's lots of different factors as well that need to be taken into consideration. So
Definitely,
I can get, and also I can get that's cycle of procurement and retendering of services. Sometimes, especially in the public sector, it's mandated, so you end up having to be part of that cycle. But moving on to your aspirations, you did talk about growing organically. Just for the audience, what kind of strategies do you employ to grow and scale, and how can we support that?
Strategies in terms of growing. Again, it's with the companies that we've got. So one of the clients that we're dealing with at the moment, they've got several sites that they're looking at, but they are actually looking to grow and take on, say, 3 or 4 more. And that's where we're looking at it. So we're looking at companies that, as Stuart said, who are scaling, and we can scale with them, because we're obviously quite new. Obviously, we have the experience and we know what we're doing, everything, but we don't want to get too big too quickly either, because we want to deliver a good service. So if we can take on one big client that's starting off with 7 sites, but then they've got potentially of another 4 coming on board, where with them from the offset, we've taken on the 7 sites. They've not done anything with those yet. As and when these new ones come on, that's the strategy, to be there to help, and then obviously grow with those as well, and spread out, and reach out to those. So that's what we've been doing. I've been doing a lot of word of mouth, to be honest with you, as well. LinkedIn. We are on LinkedIn. We've been very, very luckily entered into a couple of awards, which we've made the Kimberly Clark Golden Service Awards for cleaning.
Brilliant.
So finalists for new business, and got a notification yesterday that we made the finalist for SME Awards for the Chamber of Commerce.
Brilliant.
So we're finalists for small business in there as well. So we've been out and about doing a lot of things with those. I personally have been up to some local colleges and looking at doing sort of a school governor role, which they've asked for some help and advice for helping the buildings and the schools and that sort of things as well. Introduced to other people as well. And again, it is word of mouth and hopefully doing a good job, and people are recommending us. So yeah.
And just in terms of geography, are you UK wide, or is it
national? And we are able to cover parts of Ireland as well. So Europe is on the cards for the future. There is discussions about that. Again, something in previous life that I've done with other companies where we've had the big contractors, which are obviously everywhere across the world. So not something that scares me anyway. But but yeah. So we are looking at Dubai as well at the moment. There are lots of potential there. There's lots of potential, but at the moment, we fully cover the UK.
Yeah, that's brilliant to know. I was going to ask you about what's the vision for the next 5 years, but you've actually just covered that in terms of Europe.
Yeah,
and as I said, the market is. Within the next 5 years, is set to grow exponentially. It's just continuously growing, and it's exciting times. So from each of you, so starting with Venesa, what's the best piece of advice you've received as an entrepreneur or SME?
Oh, best piece of advice I've received. Just to keep at it, just keep going. Don't give up. It can be pretty hard at times. You can feel a little bit deflated, especially when you're not getting anywhere. And I have been, not going to lie, it has been sometimes quite frustrating not getting through to things. But every little meeting, when I go to some of the networking meetings and meeting other people who have been in similar situations, and they give me little tips, and I've tried them when I've got back, and they've actually worked. Just little things like contacting a customer, for instance. I wasn't really getting much of a response out of some of the people that I was getting, and I didn't want to be hounding them, because they did show interest and they were keen. And it was just a one-liner of contact them and just say, look, we really want to work with you. How can we make this happen? And I did that, and I got responses from all 3 people, and meetings set up the next week. And it was just little things. So don't give up. Just keep at it. Take on the advice as well. Listen to people, listen to different things, try different things. Don't just stick to what you know. Be a bit more open-minded and try it. And that would be it. Yeah.
And Stuart, what about you?
I'm not sure there's much more left. I think from working with a few different characters over through my time, I think what I've taken away from that, and it's kind of a mixture of a few things, is to stand firm, stay true to your values. Me and Vanessa have set down what we want to do, and that is, that's in the name, to do facilities management the right way. It's and back ourselves. Make a decision, decide what you're going to do, and do that, and just carry on. That's our goal. Stop bending. I think there's a lot of people that will just bend to whatever the customer wants. And although, yes, there is an element of we can be whatever you want, but it's our rules. Back ourselves
within reason.
Yeah. It's I mean, there's all things like ethical compliance, being true to your core, your DNA and your blueprint. It's really important, and finding companies, and that's where the synergies come, and it's great because doing things like the spotlight, could you, in fact, it's probably a nice opener to talk about your core values and how you foster a culture of innovation and things. That'd be great to hear.
I mean, innovation for us, I'm huge on tech. I love technology. That's totally my thing. I'm a complete geek when it comes to it. So I love innovation. And don't get me wrong, I don't like it where it just replaces humans. That's not what we're here to do. But I like how it makes life easier. And the efficiencies that you get out of that, the data that you get out of that, and what you can use from that data to then make things better. It's just fantastic. So innovation, that's how I love it all. So that's one of our main focuses. Again, when we go in, we do have a very good software platform that produces that. So you've got all the real-time data. We're out looking at new tech, cleaning stuff, cleaning products, sustainable products, things that make things quicker. So a job that would take you an hour now takes you 10 minutes. So just things like that. We're out at exhibitions and meeting people all the while looking at this. And Stuart goes around looking and driving prices and finding all of these things. So it's quite a big part of it. We like to get everyone involved as well. So when we were saying about the staff, we do the real living wage, but it's not just about the wages. We want to engage with them a little bit more, make sure that they have got the training. So they're not just cleaners that are coming in to do the cleaning. They've got a proper induction. They'll be introduced to the company. We'll meet the staff, tell them what we're looking for, let them know that they are part of the team and that they are important, because they are, at the end of the day, they're the ones that are going to pay the bills. So they're very important. We want to make sure that they are all inclusive. And if we do to involve, we do a fair bit of kind of like charity bits and pieces as well, but we'd like our staff to be a bit more involved as that in that as well. That they want to do or want to shout about, then we're here to listen. So that's just kind of an all-inclusive of everything.
That's brilliant. So here's one. Being a new fledgling, I'll call it a fledgling on the block. How do you both maintain a work-life balance, especially with the demands of running a new business?
Well, I mean,
I'll let you go on that one.
As much as possible. I mean, obviously, I've got 2 small children and an active family life, and as much as possible, we do try and work from home. Obviously, that saves on pollution from fuel to travel into an office, light in a different building for no reason. In this day and age, I don't think, although obviously there is, as we grow, I'm sure there will be the necessity for us to have more of a central base. We, as much as possible, we will try to avoid and think down to things like, we don't I've had clients send me forms they live. Do it. They don't. I said, you need to send me something that I can fill it online. We don't live in this world anymore where I need to. It's actually better, not just for the environment, but it's easier to do. And it's, people can, all the forms we send out, people can sign them on their phone, on the screen of their phone if they want to. And that's important. And at every turn, it's to look for something that's sustainable, to make it easier, because that's not only easier, but it is more sustainable. And that's one of those things where, just a little bit of technology makes a difference. And
it's a time saving, isn't it? So, you don't traveling, you're actually at home and you do your breakfast with the kids and everything in the morning. I don't have kids myself, but my sister lives close by. I've got two niece and nephew, and we're very close and huge foodies as well. So I cook dinner in the evening, so we make sure that we keep it to 9 to 5, those sort of things. We're on the phone, don't get me wrong, and if someone needs to phone and call us at any point, but we try and make sure that do it within the hours that's required and take time out. I think it's important,
and that will follow through with us. All the staff we work with. That there'll be, there's expectations, and people that do go above and beyond.
They'll be recognised for it.
They'll be recognised and rewarded to an extent, but also reminded that they don't, that you don't need to. And if we need to bring in extra support to cover other hours or to cover other things, that we will.
That's what we'll do as well. We'll make sure that when we have those contracts, that is actually taken into account. So we manage their expectations as well. It's like, okay, if you want out of hours, then you need to pay for that. There is cost to the resource to it, rather than staff to just all of a sudden think, you need to start answering the phone at 10 o'clock at night because that's what the client wants. And we have been subject to that, where I've sat on the phone. I'm sure you have 24/7 looking at your emails. I don't want to have that anxiety. I don't want the stuff.
But it's on mental health and well-being is very much up there. And I've got a lady called Claudia Halabi. She's on next week just to talk about the health and well-being. So it is really, she's a coach, so it's really important getting that balance. And I think disagree or I don't know if you would agree, clients are a lot more intelligent and tuned in to mental health and well-being now.
They are now,
more so I would say than before. And I think also there's been a shift with the hybrid working, that the effects of COVID on the workplace,
100%.
That's actually also driving another set of working habits.
Definitely.
So that's quite interesting.
Yeah, it is, because a lot of people have come into the workforce after COVID and don't know any different. They've not actually, that younger generation have only just got their jobs after leaving school in that period. They won't know any different. It is a hybrid world and it is completely different. And I personally, I've always worked in office, always been out in buildings, but I love working from home now because I get to do so much more. I find I'm so much more productive. I am a people person and I love going out and meeting people, and I do the networking. But when I come home and get work done, I'm up at 8 o'clock and in front of the computer straight away. I'm not traveling for 2 hours, and I get the work done. And like I said, I'm a huge foodie, so I'll pop in the kitchen, do a bit of cooking and, do something. But all the work is always done and I'm just happier for it. And you just enjoy life a lot more. It's just so much easier. And being able to work remotely as well. I'm quite fortunate. My parents live in Mauritius, so I've quite occasionally gone out there and just sat on the beach doing my work.
The beauty of technology.
Exactly.
You can work from anywhere.
I don't quite get that, but we live. People that don't use desktop computers as much anymore. I can take my work anywhere I go, and it can be something that's an interlude into a day rather than having to take an entire day. Because the downtime when you actually travel to an office, you could be sitting, out of an 8-hour day in an office. You have to ask yourself how much productive time have you got, and then how much of that time could you use doing something else, which is actually for your own personal well-being.
Yeah,
and obviously there's requirements for both, lots of different roles. But one of the things that both me and Venesa said when we started this was to consistently and continuously check each other and make sure that because obviously we've having worked in this world for a long time, we know how stressful it can get and how easily you can just get get pulled under. And consistently we do check it. On a daily basis, make sure that we're both okay. And that's one of our key commitments to each other, to make sure that continues, and that will roll out across all staff that we have to make sure that
communications are big. And I think again from previous experience, just people just want to know what's going on. Just a little update once in a while. That's all they want, and that's all you need to do. And I don't see why people don't do it more often. And it's just about the mental health thing. It's just awareness. Just from working at 10 years ago, it just wasn't a thing back then. But
no, it wasn't.
So much more now. And like you said, they are much more in tune with it, which is good, because even facilities manager, it makes a difference. The building that you're in needs to be clean. It needs to be a nice environment for you to be in. It all counts.
Definitely does. So, both of you, are there any up and coming events or webinars that you host that our audience can interact with you on?
Not at the moment, but I am looking at doing something. I have actually been, I haven't actually spoken to Stuart about it yet.
He knows now.
But no, it is something that I would be looking to do. One of the things that I have learned is advice, just helping other businesses as well. I mean, obviously, I know we are a service and we should obviously be charging for everything. But no, it's nice to help out just the simple little things. And we would like to interact with people and let people know who we are, what we do, and how we can help. So it is something that we'll definitely be looking to do. We do a couple of, there's some expos that we may well be doing coming up in the future. We're part of the Chamber of Commerce and there's a lot of events and whatnot there. So anything that we do, I will let you know. So.
Yeah. Brilliant. So we can make sure that that's socialized to our community. Okay, so this is again another question for both of you. Is there a book, podcast, or a resource that's been particularly influential on you?
I'm not. No, not for me. I generally, I think because I will assess everything as I go, and I've got quite a lot. The way my brain works for some, I don't know, it's crazy. I'm quite logical about how I approach stuff. So generally, if there's a specific thing, I will seek out a specific advice for that specific thing. Almost, but Google, but in the real world, of going, physically go and ask someone who's had that, or maybe a number of people who've had that experience before. I don't think. I'm not a great one for taking sort of, taking a book from Richard Branson, for instance, and sort of saying, oh, that's a model that I want to do. I think it's important because, when he did it, Richard Branson, when he did it was back then, and his model was different, and he's got a completely different way of working. I think to approach everything new, take advice, first of all, speak to Venesa about it, and then take advice from people that are experiencing that now or have made mistakes, so we can learn from them and try and make sure that we don't tread the same path, or we and then manipulate that to fit within the model, that make it more sustainable. I mean, if their model isn't, what they've said isn't a sustainable version, try and say, well, how can we do that but make that more sustainable? So no, not really a specific thing, sorry.
That's okay.
Mine would be, again, not anything specific, but speaking to people that we know. Clive Horrobin is probably one of them. He's a non-executive director that's working for us as well. He has been around for years, and he is retired, but he's come back on board with us because he loves what he does and he's brilliant. But he's very wise. He's got a lot of knowledge. He used to look after the big Primark estate, I think it was, as well, when that first started. So all fit out. So he's been around. So just people that have been around for a long time in the industry, that have grown and seen the technology move and all of that. I find that very, very useful, definitely, because as Stuart said, a lot of habit is old school habit, and you don't want to necessarily change it, but you kind of do need to bring it in line with what happens today, because technology does move on, things do move on, people move on as well. We're dealing with a different generation and different kind of people that have different expectations to back then. And I think it's just, again, education, letting people know what we do, where you can help, and
and that's sorry, Stuart, what were you going to say?
No, the things, when I first started my work career, I was ended up being an assistant manager at Carphone Warehouse a long time ago in my history, at a time when Charles Dunstan was still the main owner, and he used to come around and come to all the shops, and it was a massive thing. I remember they used to do like a big 2.5, if you wanted to go on board, it was a big 2.5 week training course. And if I think back, that probably set me in motion, because everything, there's a lot of echoes of what was taught to me in maybe that initial training course, because it was so customer focused. It was so, they literally lived by 5 fundamental. I can't remember what they are, so please don't ask me.
Tell us later.
But they literally lived and breathed by these 5 fundamental rules, and everything was built around that. But it was still a business. And obviously they became massive, and obviously the whole model's changed now. But back then, I mean, they completely took over the market by doing right by the customer, which is not necessarily a model that we'd seen in other things. It was all about, you know,
how much money can you make?
different businesses just trying to make
Yeah.
money. It was you know, or customers shopping around to get the cheapest, and it stopped in that moment for that, in that business which grew and proved that it could be done. It became about working with the customer to get what they wanted, and not accepting what suppliers and everyone would just, you know, feed everyone else. It was like, well, if you want access to our customer base, you're gonna have to deal with it. So you know, I think, just going back to it, I think that's one of the things, not direct advice. So I've spoken to him a few times.
It's okay. Yeah.
Yeah, no, not direct advice, but so yeah, that's those, the ethos there sits with me.
Yeah. So, what's one message or lesson that you, both of you, take it into, would like our listeners to take away from this conversation today?
I think for me, from a facilities management, as a facilities management business, I think if you've dealt with other companies, you know, I don't want to say if you've tried the rest, now come and try but you know, because
that's too cheesy.
Well, we can do cheesy. No, I'm just
I'm joking.
I think don't stand for what you've got. Listen to what we've got to say, and understand that we are about doing it differently. We are about approaching it and becoming part of your business, not just filling a gap which you know has been left by someone who's been torn out because, you know, either poor service or didn't keep up with their commitments. Just we are here to come and do it differently and be what facilities management should be, what we genuinely believe it should be. And if you want to ask the question what that is to you, and it's different to everyone, then come and ask.
Yeah. Venesa, what's the final message and takeaway for our audience from you?
Again, I'll just reiterate what Stuart said. Just come and have a chat with us and see what we can do. We just want to help. We are that slightly different. Just have a chat. It doesn't cost you anything. There are all sorts that we can do. Facilities are not just about cleaning and fixing. It's a whole piece. So we can see what we can do for you. Give us a shout. Yeah.
Thank you. And before I say goodbye to you and thank you, how can our listeners connect and learn more?
Where
can they connect with you?
Yeah, website address, we've got Right FM. So just Google it, rightfm.co.uk. Drop us an email, hello@rightfm.co.uk. I'm on LinkedIn as well, Venesa Kudian, Stuart Robertson, and we also have the LinkedIn Right FM page on there as well. So yeah.
Oh, that's brilliant. Venesa, Stuart, thank you so much for taking some time out to share everything about your business, about your journey with us today. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.